We are live. Welcome, you guys. Welcome to the Donovan Sadiq Show. I am back. New year, new problems in the Black community. I just want to do a test run. This is 2023. Today is January 24th, 2023. It is 10:57 a.m. Real quick, I'm supposed to be doing a podcast with my compadre, Dimitri K. You can follow me and Dimitri K on Sundays, 3 p.m. California Pacific Standard Time. And Dimitri and I usually chop it up on her show. And I give my part of commentary and do that. So if you're looking for me, you can always find me on Sundays on the Dimitri K Show, as well as doing podcasts and video casts here. A lot of stuff going on out there in the media. As you know, the Democrats have lost the House, and a Black man, Hakeem Jeffries, has now become the leader of the Democrats while Nancy Pelosi lurks in the shadows. Here's the problem. If you've been following Twitter and you're listening to what they're saying on Twitter, the Democratic Party always talks about now. Notice they're talking about it now. Now that they have no power, now that they can't run the legislation, they're talking about what the Republicans should be doing, right? So if you've been following me on Twitter, IE Informer, at IE Informer, you will see that, like, let's say Hakeem Jeffries says, universal healthcare should be a right or something. I will immediately go and say, well, what did you do about it? You were in power for at least, 6 years. You didn't do anything about it. LGBT rights should be should be defended. That's my cat. Should be defended. Well, why didn't you do something about it? Nancy Pelosi put out the other day how we should be celebrating the 50-something years of Roe versus Wade, and that the Republicans are totally against it, and the radical Republican Supreme Court, did whatever they did, right? I said, well, why didn't you ratify it? All of these things that they now say should be done, they didn't do when they were in power. And then whenever I bring up reparations now for Black people, silence. Notice they do not talk about reparations when it comes for Black people. But you got a Black man that is now the leader in the minority group in the House. He says nothing about it, but he's supposed to be this historic and progressive Black man and all this other stuff. I and the new Black media have been telling you guys, it doesn't matter what party you vote for. These are all the same party. It's like being a policeman. They are blue before they're Black. They're blue before they're Hispanic. They're blue before they're Asian. You guys get it? So my question to you guys is this. How much longer are you guys going to willingly give up your vote? Willingly give up your vote for nothing. They're offering you nothing. They're giving you nothing. Aunt Maxine is nowhere to be found. And if you've been following, Sheila Jackson Lee is talking about a reparations commission, just like they do in the States and here in California and stuff. You see, all of these states now are starting to deal with this. But here's what I got to say about the reparations issue. She's not even talking about her, the HR 40 that she took up, because it's bullshit, right? Here's what we got to talk about. I am not going to tell you or anybody not to take the money, okay? So here in California, they're talking about $280,000 of descendants of slaves to compensate them, right? That's what they're talking about. Most Black people that I know don't have $289,000 in their bank account. Now, here's my problem when I argue with people in regards to the reparations talk. This is what we should be saying. We should be saying this. $289,000, that's a good start. That's a good initial down payment, because it has been estimated that Black people at a minimum is due $17 trillion in today's money. We built the country, free labor. We need to get our check. $17 trillion. Now, a lot of people say, you got a lot of Africans and Caribbean people out here that are talking about, oh yeah, we're Black and sisterhood and all that. No. Just because we have the same black skin doesn't mean we have the same shared history. It's just like when I go to Africa, or if I go to the Caribbean or whatever, especially when I go to Africa, right? If I'm not of a certain tribe, I don't get that tribal benefit. Okay, it's the same thing here in the United States. If you're a Native American and you're not of that Native American tribe, you don't get that benefit. You can't go on their land, or you don't get that check from the casinos in that land because you're not part of that tribe. The Native Hispanics, and here in California, I say Native Hispanics because unlike the Native Indian, Native Hispanics, being that this was part of Mexico, so you've got some Native Hispanics here that are Mexican by lineage, and they're native to the soil because this used to be Mexico, correct? So, I wouldn't necessarily clarify them as Indians, but I would clarify them as Native Hispanics, okay? Because, they're still of that lineage, of the Mexican lineage, right? This, Hispanic lineage. So $17 trillion. So, we got the Caribbeans and the Africans. Oh, no, you're not part of us. And $17 trillion. And let's break the math down. 17 trillion, that's a lot of money. So $289,000 is a good down payment. That's what we should be saying. That's a good start. We're not going to say that's a final payment. That is not a final payment. So when people are talking to you about reparations, do not act like that's just the final payment. That is not a final payment. You shouldn't be saying that. You say, hey, that's a good signing bonus. That's a good, way to start. $17 trillion is what we are owed. Now, if you break that down, 14% of the Black population represents the United States, okay? 14%, so they say. Now, you take that 14% and you take about 8% of that, of that 14, almost half, lineage is descendants of slaves. So now that $17 trillion is a lot of money. Between 8% of the population of Black people. Only 8% of the population of Black people in the United States are descendants of slaves. That comes out to over $500 million per person. So why would you take $281,000 and say that's it? So here's what the white establishment is going to start doing. They are going to start lowballing you like they did at Bruce Beach, $20 million. Which was stupid. They could have negotiated whatever they needed to. It's their money. They can do what they want to do. I'm not hating on them. They can do what they want to do. But what is the point of $20 million living in California? That's nothing. That's nothing. People talk about, well, they don't have the money to pay the taxes. And you don't pay taxes on reparations, idiot. That's like paying taxes on disability. You don't pay taxes on that. However, that $20 million that they've gotten, if they had stuck to the deal and stuck to the land and became landowners and leased that out to corporations of hotels and things, you're talking about a return down the road, maybe, give or take, once it's developed, 3 or 4 years, once the land is developed, of $16 million a year. This is our problem in our Black community, just like a lot of the land down in the South is being taken away from a lot of Black families that have had it for years. And it kind of blows my mind. Here are people who were sharecroppers, ended up owning their own land, right? Down in the South, Alabama, Louisiana, parts of Texas, Arkansas, and parts of Florida as well, and Georgia, South Carolina. Here are people who had limited educational knowledge, but they had enough knowledge to know how to keep their land. Here we are, Google everywhere, on your phone, everything. And yet we don't even know how to pay the damn property tax to keep the land. And the land, grandma, grandpa, passes away. They give the land to the next generation. The next generation either doesn't want to keep it or just loses it outright. That amazes me. And then the taxes might be, $3,000, $2,000, whatever it is. But the land is like, you talk about like 40, sometimes in some cases, I've read some cases where per person had 30 acres. They had 15 acres. That's a lot of land. And they didn't pay the property tax on it. So my point is 8% of Black people have lineage to slavery in the United States, if not a little less. 8% could trace their lineage to slavery. That's over $500 million. So why just settle for 280,000? And this is what the white man's going to start doing. They're going to start lowballing because they know they're going to have to pay it eventually. They know that that's where all these groups are being started now. All these states are starting to do it and trying to address it because they can't get away from it. So what they're going to start doing is lowballing, and they're going to try to get as many people, just like they did at Bruce Beach, $20 million. Do you know how much the city of whatever that city is, Huntington or whatever, not Huntington, I'm sorry, whatever the city is, Los Angeles, let's just say Los Angeles in general. Do you know how much money they're going to make off of that land? Within 5 years, they're almost going to triple what they paid out. Triple it in 5 years. So what I want you guys to start doing is be smart. When they start saying, hey, this is, what we're going to pay in reparations, it's not a final payment. And again, reparations can only be cash payments. It can't be education. It can't be tax exemption. It can't be housing. That's not reparations. Because think about it like this. I'm a descendant of a slave, right? I'm already educated. I already have my own home. So because I already have those things, does that make me any less legitimate to get what is rightfully mine? I don't need another house. I don't need a thing. But with cash money, then that person could do whatever they want. And I know some people are going to sit here with the stupid argument of, well, them niggas go spend the money anyway and whatever. Well, that's great. Then put it back in the economy, and smart Negroes like me and other people, we will start businesses to where we know that their money will come to us. That's how you handle that. But let's say that person was a lottery ticket owner. Do you have the right to tell that person how they're going to spend the money? That person was a former professional athlete. Do you have the right to tell them and pocket watch how they're going to spend their money? Of course you don't. All you have the power over is your own money. So again, do not let these people, these Democrats and all these other people, lowball you. I'm going to get ready to go to the Demetra Kaye show. She was down in Texas, and they were experiencing a tornado watch or something down there. So I just wanted to hit this real quick. But last thing I want to tell you guys is, just because you are Black does not mean you're going to get reparations. So their talk about reparations is impossible. It's bullshit. A lot of people that are here, we're glad that you're here. A lot of them came in the 60s and whatever. 14% of the Black population everybody's not getting reparations. That's not everybody. So if you're from the Caribbean, you need to address your issues with England. If you're from one of the colonized countries in Africa, you need to address your grievances with the colonizers in Africa. But here in the United States, as an African American or a Black person here in America, descendant of a slave, I have to address my grievances with the United States. So, which is why we can't let you put your hand in our pot, because you definitely don't want us to put our hand in your pot. You see how that works? So at 8% of the population, hey, $281,000 is a good starting point to accept money. And we need to be negotiating like that. It's a good starting point. I would rather have $281,000 this year, $420,000 the next year, $500,000 a year after that. And it just keeps increasing until they get me my money. Do the math, $17 trillion out of 8% of the Black population, that's almost $500 million per person. So why would you settle for $281,000? $17 trillion is a lot of money. Think about it. Donovan Sadiq, come back and join me. I'm going to be on this a lot more. I've been in litigation for over almost 3 years now. And when you're in litigation, it kind of limits what you can do and say and stuff like that. So you know what? To hell with it. I'm going to go back and get the information out there and get back on the profile. So please tune in. Got some new equipment, better lighting, and all that other good stuff. And so we're going to be rocking and rolling. Talk to you guys in a little bit later, which means in Spanish, mañana.